Hi and welcome to this tutorial for Electronica. In this video I'm going to be looking at the Qt Player module. The Qt Player module is one of Electronica's video player modules. At the back it has no input pins, one video output pin, and no audio output pins, so be aware that unlike the VP1 and VP10 player modules, it can't play the audio and videos. The Qt Player can hold up to 16 clips in these slots here at the bottom of the module. You load clips into slots by clicking and dragging them either from Electronica's built-in file browser or from Windows Explorer. When dragging and dropping from files from Windows Explorer, it's possible to load several clips at once. When a clip is successfully loaded, it'll generate a thumbnail. To help illustrate how this module works, I'm going to load a few clips into these slots, start the set, and then press the Qt Player's play button. Notice that the Qt Player doesn't resize video, so if you load a clip with a lower resolution than your project output, it'll have a black border around it. And likewise, if you load a clip with a higher resolution than your output, it'll be cropped. If you're using the dimension module for output, you can get around this by adjusting the zoom value here. As you've seen, to select the clip to be played, simply click on it. The clip which is currently playing displays a white border around its thumbnail, which makes it easier to identify. Clips played in the Qt Player always loop. This first rotary at the top left of the module affects the clip playback rate. The default value is 60. Increasing this makes the clip play faster, and decreasing it makes the clip play slower. At a rate of 50 or less, the clip will start playing backwards. The playback speed is affected by the BPM. So notice that if I set the BPM very low, the clip starts to play back more slowly. You can use the playback rate control to speed the clip back up. This first toggle switch at the top left of the module allows you to choose whether to play the whole clip or just a portion of it. The default up position is to play the whole clip. If you switch this to the down position, you can set in and out cue points for each clip slot by clicking and dragging on these two markers on either side of the timeline bar. The thing to note about these cue points is that once the cue point to the right has been moved away from the end, the first cue point will move the whole selection. In order to move them, you'll have to put this one back to the end. This gets a little bit easier to understand once you've played around with it a bit. The cue points are useful for creating loops from longer videos. So for example, you could load the same video 3 times here, and then have different in and out points. This is the current time indicator, and it indicates the point of playback. You can click on it and drag it to move the playback point. The second toggle switch enables or disables palindrome mode. When this is enabled, clips play forward to the end, and then backwards till they reach the start of the clip again, looping back and forth in this manner. This next switch is the play pause button. Pressing it starts and stops playback within the Qt Player module, but note that this is not related to the master play button. To the right of this is the reverse mode button. Enabling this will cause clips to play backwards. The next rotary control is the random seek control. The default value is 0, which causes the video to play back normally. Increasing this value causes the video to skip randomly to a different point, with higher values causing more frequent skips. Note that if you set this to a value higher than 0, the video will continue to skip even if you stop the module playback. Finally, the last control controls the launch mode of the clips. By default, this is set to pause. So when you switch between one clip to another, the previous one pauses where it was. Then when you switch back, it will resume playing from that point. If I switch this to start mode, then every time I switch between a clip, the clip will play from the beginning. This behavior also applies to the module's play pause button here. using the Qt Player module, it's best to use a lossless codec, or to have keyframes every 3 frames or less for clips, if you plan on using the palindrome, reverse, or random modes, as this will help the clips to play back more smoothly. It's also best to use clips with the same resolution as your output, as the Qt Player module doesn't resize clips before outputting them. The in and out cue points on the timeline are separate for each clip, and don't reset when you load a new clip into a slot. The Qt Player is also able to display still image files. Supported formats include BMP, PNG, JPEG, TIFF, and TGA, and possibly others. The types of movie files supported will depend on the codecs installed on your system. I believe Electronica requires codecs of the Video for Windows or VFW type, so for this reason I recommend using the K-Lite codec pack and either the full or mega versions. In my experience, the FFD show option is a little more reliable. However, LAV's compatibility and performance seem to have improved in recent versions. You'll have the option of which to use when you install the K-Lite codec pack. I've put a link to the download page in the video description. When properly configured, Qt Player should be able to play back almost any video which plays in your media player of choice. Presets save the files loaded in Qt Player, so you can easily change between clips by saving presets. There is generally a short delay, during which time the output goes black while loading new clips. This is because the thumbnails are being generated. One way around this is simply to use 2 Qt Player modules and a mixer, and changing the presets while the output isn't showing. It's possible to minimize this delay by having Electronica cache generated thumbnails, but this does require Electronica to be installed to a custom location outside of the program files directory. I made a short post about this on my blog, which I put a link to in the description of this video. Presets also save the location of the playhead, the loop in and out points. Saving the project does not save the in and out points, so you must create presets in order to save this information. Finally, this is the MIDI and keyboard mapping view for the module. The only special thing to note here is that the timeline takes 3 controller mappings. Controller 1 maps the position of the playhead, Controller 2 moves the in point of the loop region, and Controller 3 moves the out point. Okay, that's all for the Qt Player. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below or in the Facebook group, and subscribe to my channel for more videos on Electronica. Thanks for watching.